Hello and welcome to another edition of Resources for Life TV at resourcesforlife.com. My name's Greg Johnson and I'm reporting to you live from beautiful downtown Iowa City on another gorgeous rainy day. And this video is a short response to somebody who asked the question, what kind of MP3 player should I buy? And the short answer to that question is I'd recommend you spend about $150 to $200 on an Apple iPod, either the standard iPod or the iPod Touch, because those units offer the greatest flexibility, features, reliability, ease of use, and that's probably why Apple's iPods represent about 70% of the market out there, the world market in MP3 players. So that's the short answer, but the long answer is a little more complicated. As you probably know, there are a number of MP3 players available on the market right now. You have some that kind of fall in the price range of, I guess, $30 up to $50 or $60. That's the real low end of the market. And those are just basic players. What you might find is over a period of time, maybe 6 months or a year, those units might break on you. You might also just have difficulty using them. The buttons might be kind of tiny. The display would be hard to read. The battery cover might break off or get lost. That type of thing. So most people, I think, wouldn't be satisfied with that. Those are good, I suppose, for for kids to use if they're going to be losing it or breaking it anyway. There's no sense spending $300 on an MP3 player if it's going to get broken or lost. But for most people, for daily or at least regular use, you'll want to get something a little more substantial. Now, Sony offers some MP3 players in the $80 to $100 price range. Once you get to $100, they have some that play video. They don't have a lot of memory, but they'll serve the basic function. The problem is most people want a simple user interface, and the iPod and iPod Touch and iPhone come with a very simple user interface. It's the iTunes software. You can use your own media. You can purchase media or download free media from the iTunes store. So the combination of the iTunes software on a Windows or Apple computer and the iPod, iPod Touch, and iPhone make a really nice solution for media, audiobooks, music, videos, TV, movies, that type of thing. And of course the iPod Touch and the iPhone are really like portable computers. You can download software programs to do just about anything. I think there are as many or maybe more software programs available for the iPod Touch and the iPhone than are available for a standard desktop computer. Now, for purposes of illustration, I want to share a story. A number of years ago, music was readily available for free on the internet. People were downloading and trading music through a service called Napster. Now, this was illegal, but it was so prevalent that most people didn't really think twice about getting on Napster and downloading some music or videos or whatever. So in the midst of this, what some people felt was like a world crisis, in the midst of this, Steve Jobs at Apple held a public press announcement. Okay, he had a press meeting, and this press meeting went out across the world. And in this press meeting, Steve Jobs suggested the absurd. Steve Jobs suggested that people would be willing to pay for music. He suggested that people would be willing to pay for music that would otherwise be free to them on the internet. Well, why would people be willing to do that? If people can download 100 songs for free, why would they download 100 songs and pay $100 for that? Steve Jobs believed that by delivering an extra measure of quality and convenience, which is what the iPod offers and the iTunes store offers. He believed that by offering this quality and convenience, that people would be willing to pay $100 for something that elsewhere would have been free. And I think this example illustrates why today the iPod as a player is really much more valuable than something that costs maybe $20 less. So let me explain. When Steve Jobs suggested the absurd that people might be willing to pay $100 for 100 songs instead of getting them for free, people initially were skeptical, and reasonably so. This is something that just doesn't happen in the consumer marketplace. If somebody can get something for $2 less or $100 less, they're going to go with the cheaper thing, right? I mean, that's the marketplace at work. But Steve Jobs proved to be correct. In fact, now several years later, there have been over 1 billion downloads. So what people could have had for free, they've paid over $1 billion for. Okay, so now let's apply that model to the MP3 players. Same principle. Let's say you could get an MP3 player for free, or you could buy one for $150. What people are saying is, look, I don't care if it's, $80 or $20 less, or price doesn't really matter. I want quality, I want, functional design, I want ease of use, reliability, I want something that's going to save me time, and be an enjoyable and pleasant and dependable user interface and experience. So this is what Apple's been doing with their entire product line. They're creating products that exceed the industry standards, that people are willing to pay more, sometimes considerably more and sometimes not. So going back to this example of the MP3 players, I would say, and the people have spoken as well, as the expression goes, but I would say, yeah, it's definitely worth it to go ahead and get an Apple iPod or iPod Touch to listen to music and watch TV shows and videos and that type of thing, just because they're made of metal, which is a renewable, recyclable, I guess I should say, resource rather than plastic. They're more durable. The iTunes player is a clean, simple interface. You don't have pop-ups with the latest news about Britney Spears showing up on your computer screen. It's just the iTunes player, and that's how you interface with the iPod, iPod Touch, and the iPhone. So anyway, that's kind of a long-winded answer to the question that came in, and I hope that that's been helpful, and that you're able to make a more informed and more thoughtful decision when purchasing an MP3 player. This is Greg Johnson reporting again live from beautiful downtown Iowa City on a glorious rainy day. Hope you're having a great day yourself, and I look forward to talking to you soon. All right, bye-bye.